explain to me how, with all the security that you saw, it took 6 hours. Think about that. 6 hours for them to even respond. These terrorists were grabbing people and dragging them to Gaza. So with the security that you're telling me at that level, it's unbelievable to me to say that they just, all the IDF, all the soldiers, everybody stopped down, which goes to my point, Pat. I showed you this video before we walked in. Ron Paul, in 2009 in the Congress, on the floor in Congress, I'll let them play this. He is saying that Israel basically created Hamas to fight Yasser Arafat, and then we had a kind of a play. So I'll let Rob play, Rob, and Pat, we can stop it.
With Gaza right now, we have some moral responsibility for both sides in a way, because we provide help and funding for both Arab nations and Israel. And so we definitely have a moral responsibility, and especially now today, the weapons being used to kill so many Palestinians are American weapons, and American funds essentially are being used for this.
Right.
But there's a political liability, which I think is something that we fail to look at, because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in.
Here it goes.
You know, Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel, because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And he said, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections.
Yeah.
So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas.
And they got Hamas.
So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. You know, it just doesn't make sense. During the 80s,
that's it. You can stop right there. But Pat, like, what a point where they kind of created it to fight Yasser Arafat, but then at the same token, it's like you created a monster.
I mean, we did the same thing with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Bingo. He was going to get there too.
Bin Laden.
Perfect point.
Yep.
And he was just about to go there. We start like we're creating these monsters, and then we go, oh my God, the monster did monster things, and we're like, how could they? So, and going to my point, Adam, and I love you to death, bro. It's just, and I'm getting messages, mind you, on Instagram from people, Israeli people. They're like, yo, dude, we feel your, we understand. We want to know now. When you have John Kirby, the day it happened, going, no. Now's not the time to question, because I know we're talking about accountability years down the road, Adam, because there's war right now. They're attacking the ground invasion. The incursion right now is absolutely insane. But it's like, I'm not one of those down the road, we'll talk about it. Like you talked about George Bush Jr., he belongs in prison. Mm-hmm. And if Donald Rumsfeld, I would dig his ass up and put him in the electric chair. That's how much these people killed over 1 million people, soldiers, Americans, everybody. Now we're just supposed to be no, just forget about it. And now you see Bush going up and talking with Democrats. It's like, bro, take your ass to jail. I hate that shit. It drives me bananas.
Well, and I hit the nail on the head. Like anytime America gets involved in regime change, it's a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Afghanistan, Iraq, what they're trying to do with the PLO here. But Pat brought the biggest point to the thing. Number one, we need to be focused on America. Who are America's allies come second? Is it Israel, or is it Hezbollah, Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Islamic Jihad, the Muslim Brotherhood?
Israel for 200.
What are we even talking about
Israel
right
for
here?
200.
What are we even talking about right here? Like this equivocation, especially on the woke college campus left, of this, you know.
So let me jump in on this conversation, because my views on it are a little more nuanced. Look, what's currently happening to Palestinian civilians. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. It's really important. I was disgusted to see anyone on the left justify or provide cover for a terrorist group like Hamas. I was horrified by what Hamas did. Absolutely, Israel should go after Hamas. I have no problem with that. Now, the way the Israeli government and the IDF is going after Hamas is basically ethnically cleansing Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Okay, look, I'm Armenian. I see genocide when I can recognize genocide when I see one. It is so obvious to me. Like, I'll give you a few examples. If you wanted to root out Hamas, you send in special ops.
I agree.
Okay, that is how you do it. And I'm not saying that as some lefty. Jocko Willink said that. Someone who is incredibly experienced in the military. He's like, this is how you get Hamas. bombing the crap out of residential buildings, okay, out of that Greek Orthodox church, out of the areas where all of these innocent Palestinian civilians are living in or fleeing from, is not the right way to go. And look, that in the long term will not keep Israel safe, because what that policy of just bombing the crap out of that area and wiping out entire families does is it breeds more extremism. Okay. First of all, I think it's wrong. I don't think those civilians deserve this. Okay. The majority of the civilians living in the Gaza Strip weren't even born at the time that Hamas was voted in. Okay. Most of them, half of them are under the age of 18.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So the point that I'm trying to make is there is a way of supporting Israel, which I believe we should do, right? Without justifying what they're currently doing in the Gaza Strip, right? We should provide them with the intel they need. We should provide them with the weapons they need, with the condition that they're going to carry out these operations, special ops, as opposed to bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, killing all of these innocent civilians from a remote location. I think that's wrong.
Anna, with all due respect, you're sort of falling for the mainstream narrative that you talk about railing against. So we all saw the story about the hospital that was bombed by Israel. How could you do this? How could you kill innocent civilians? The New York Times basically is now retracting their statement. Yeah, it turns out it was the Islamic Jihad with a failed rocket. I can assure you of
Hold
this.
on.
Nobody
that is not definitive, number one.
Yeah, it's still not.
That is not definitive,
Even
number
the Wall
one.
Street Journal
Okay,
came out and said
that is one example. Even if I give you that argument and it is proven without any doubt that it was Hamas that did that, that is one incident in a situation where 1.1 million Palestinians are being told to evacuate their homes. As they're being evacuated to the part of the Gaza Strip where they're gonna be safe, that area gets bombed.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you a very direct question.
Hold on,
do you think
hold on,
Israel
no.
wants to kill
Yes,
innocent civilians?
I do.
You think
I
Israel
do.
genuinely wants to?
I do.
What
I
evidence do you have of that?
The evidence is they are refusing to do special operations and instead are relying on bombing areas where they know civilians are at, and then they'll turn around and say, "Well, Hamas is using them as human shields."
So if someone was shooting at you, you don't have kids, right?
If an armed man grabbed a family member of yours, do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you have? Okay, your mother. You talked about your mother. If an armed gunman grabbed your mother, had a gun to her head, okay, and he is confronted by the authorities, by law enforcement, and the law enforcement, they just decide, you know what, we're not going to negotiate, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to shoot the hell out of both of them. And then they come to you and say, well, your mother, sorry, was a human shield. Would you accept that argument?
That's not the question, though.
Would you accept that argument?
You're making up a random story that my mother is held captive.
Hamas using Palestinians as human shields is not a justification to indiscriminately bomb the hell out of that region, knowing full well that the majority of people who are going to end up dying are not Hamas militants who are underground in the tunnels, okay? Okay, it's the innocent civilians who are going to lose their lives. And the flippant behavior that I see from the West in regard to all of those innocent people losing their lives disgusts me. Okay, seeing people having to leave, vacate their homes, everything that they've known, being forced to leave the land that they have. That is exactly what happened to Armenians. That is exactly what happened during the genocide. And the fact that the United States is just willy-nilly providing cover for that behavior absolutely disgusts me. Israel has a right to defend itself. How it defends itself is where we should have that conversation. Sending special ops in to get Hamas? Hell yeah, go get them. But the idea that all of these innocent kids should lose their lives as a result of this, I don't believe it. I will never support it. And in the long run, that is going to make Israeli civilians less safe, not more safe. It breeds more extremism. And by the way, it's dragging us into a broader war. Okay, you have the Arab world like ready to go. And you have Israel under the leadership of Netanyahu acting incredibly belligerent, doing airstrikes in freaking Lebanon. Okay, talking about going to war in Iran. We're going to bring in all of these Arab countries. You think the United States is going to stay out of that? Hell no. We're going to be dragged into more forever wars. But I just think it's so destructive, so stupid. We're not thinking critically and strategically about how to help our ally Israel while also preventing the reproduction of more extremism.
Yeah, the extremism is never going to go away.
It's not going to go.
That's the foundation of what Hamas is.
It's not going to go away.
In their founding doctrine,
let me tell you something.
Their entire doctrine is to eliminate every Jew that lives in Israel.
Let me
Do
explain
you acknowledge the founding doctrine of what Hamas is? The annihilation of all Jews?
I hate Hamas.
Okay.
Let me be clear.
So the question is, how do we annihilate them?
Well, you can't find.
I need you guys to understand something.
Nobody wants to see innocent civilians killed. Nobody, including the IDF.
If a government wiped out my entire family, I have nothing left to live for. And I'm real angry. Okay? That is a dangerous combination. And that is exactly what is being bred right now as we speak, as entire families are getting wiped out, civilian families in the Gaza Strip. I totally get that, the discourse in the United States has essentially dehumanized these people. But at the end of the day, they're innocent people in a terrible situation, and they don't deserve the absolute hell that they're dealing with right now, the death and destruction that they're dealing with right now. I want a peaceful two-state solution. This ain't the way to get it.
Yeah, we are in full alignment, full agreement that we want to see zero civilian deaths. Nobody wants that. And I can assure you, the IDF, the Mossad, nobody wants civilian deaths. But we're looking for solutions here. If I'm standing in front of a human shield and I'm throwing missiles, bombs, grenades your way, and I'm trying to kill you as a civilian and your family, what would you do? If I'm trying to kill you, and I'm standing in front of a civilian, I'm trying to kill you, Anna, what would you do? Hey, we can't kill civilians. We need a peaceful situation here. Or would you shoot back?
I apologize.
No. What would you do?
No, but you are making a hypothetical that doesn't exist right now. We're talking about IDF soldiers
that's literally
in the
what's
safety
going
of
on
their
right
remote
now.
location as they're dropping bombs. That is not what's happening right now.
No.
So we're not having a conversation about
what about
IDF
the 5,000 rockets that
Are you
were
going to let me answer the question?
Let me answer. What about the 5,000 rockets that were fired on Israel that killed civilians?
Well,
so what do you do there?
This is
you
what
just
we do.
say, hey,
this
look,
is what we do.
Until we identify where this is coming
Are you
from,
gonna let me answer the
we
question?
can't kill any civilians.
Are you gonna let me-
Nobody wants civilians killed, Hannah.
Here's what we do. The United States taxpayer funds the Iron Dome that intercepts all of those rockets, okay? To pretend as though we're talking about two equal sides is ridiculous to me. It is an asymmetrical war. So I'm happy. I am so happy that the United States did that the United States helped fund the Iron Dome to help keep Israel safe. The point that I'm trying to make right now is that the current effort in basically bombing the crap out of the Gaza Strip, first of all, breaks a bunch of international laws pertaining to war. Okay, so there are war crimes taking place as we speak, and we're here in the United States pretending like we don't see it, even though every other country in the world sees it, even though the UN Security Council sees it. So aside from doing war crimes, we're also creating a future in which Israel isn't going to be safe. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, don't you think the people of Israel know that?
Then why?
They've never had safety there.
Can I say,
They've
can I say
never
one
had
thing
safety.
too? How many?
You don't think that in 2006 when they did the disengagement, they pulled out of Gaza, they weren't aware of this? No doubt. This is whack-a-mole on the highest proportion. But at some point, if Hamas is leading Gaza, that is the government that is running Gaza, and their founding principle is the annihilation of everybody in Israel, what choice do you have? The IDF does not want to.
Hamas.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You go after
How do you do that? Give me an actual tangible solution.
She already said
when they're
special ops. That's how you do it.
Because no,
so you just do precision.
Hold on,
while they're shooting
precision.
missiles.
Because on the 6th, October 6th, 1,600 people died. I think a couple number. Now in Palestine, it's over 6,000. Okay, how many of Hamas have been killed in that 6,000? Do you know? There's 44,000 in Palestine. How many of them were killed? Because mind you, the innocent lives are at 95%. How much Hamas? When's enough? I get it, Adam. Israel has to protect itself, and we have to support Israel protecting itself. It didn't protect itself that day. Nobody wants to talk about it. So now, how many lives is enough? Hamas killed, and God rest all their souls, 1,600 people that day, raped, killed, everything. So how many more civilians have to die in Palestine for it to be like, all right, we killed some Hamas, but if you think you're going to wipe out all of Hamas, that's not going to happen. So now what's the solution? Just flatten Palestine. Just get everybody, pack your shit and get out, because we're bombing everything, because that's all they're using as kids as shields. I'm pretty sure that they do, but Adam, it's not everywhere. The majority of the deaths are women and children, innocent people. It's not.
But
where's
go
Hamas?
deeper, Vinny. Don't just no.
I'm not
Again,
stopped.
let's start
I'm not
with the
stopped.
basic premise here that nobody wants innocent kids and civilians to be dying. Nobody.
Of course
The
not.
difference is when Hamas is literally raping and beheading children and raping women. Okay, give me a solution other than, hey, don't kill innocent civilians. Give me something. You're saying precision defense,
Yeah, it's called
precision
special
like that.
forces,
Okay,
and we have those people.
When terrorists are embedded in schools, in hospitals, and in homes, how do you do this? Israel does what is about roof knocks. You've got 10 minutes to get the fuck out.
And where are they going?
Because
Adam?
missiles
and
were
then they get a bomb where
okay.
they're going.
So at what point does the Arab countries surrounding take accountability? How many people is Egypt taking in? How many people is Jordan taking in?
How many
people is
civilians
Lebanese
is
taking
Israel taking in? What are you talking about?
You want Israel to take in Gaza
Palestinian civilians.
Do you know how many times when
But they
when
won't do
Gazans
that,
are
right?
sick?
Because they like to conflate Hamas and innocent Palestinian civilians.
Okay, so here's my
because
question.
They're subhuman.
How
right?
about this? Answer this question. How many people is the West Bank or Gaza? How many Israelis are they taking in to show support?
Are you
Zero
kidding me?
in the history
Wait,
of their country.
You want to talk?
Zero.
Are you sure you want to talk about the West Bank right now?
Hundreds,
the West
if
Bank,
not thousands.
where they're governed by the Palestinian Authority, which works with the Israeli government, right? They are not at all governed by Hamas. At the same time, Israeli government has no problem with the settlers raining terror on those people living in the West Bank, right? Netanyahu has no problem with building illegal settlements in the West Bank, okay? Evicting Palestinians from their legal homes in the West Bank. By the way, honestly answer this question, okay? You have Palestinians following the rules, they're governed by the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, a situation that could lead to peaceful relations between Israelis and Palestinians.
Oh, really? All the peaceful relations that have never existed.
No.
So you're going on the premise that somehow in this magical world that Anna's living in, that peace is possible. Zero peace is possible.
Building illegal settlements in the West Bank, which again is not governed by Hamas, shows the bad faith of the current Israeli government.
Yeah, but it's not whether it's Yitzhak Rabin, whether it's Bibi Netanyahu, whether it's Ehud Barak. Good luck.
I just wish
trying to have peace with Hamas.
I wish that you would just say it like it is, because I feel like you're not saying it like it is.
Tell me what I'm not saying.
I think Israel wants to rid that area of Palestinians, period. And their activity in the Gaza Strip right now makes it abundantly clear to me. Abundantly clear.
Listen, if there's anybody that understands...
Entire neighborhoods completely leveled, okay? By the way, you want to talk about bombing hospitals? You think that was the first time a hospital was bombed? They bomb hospitals all the time.
And ask yourself
why.
That
exact hospital was bombed just like a few days earlier.
Okay, this alleged hospital that was bombing,
it was
according to multiple reports, according to multiple retractions, was done by Islamic Jihad. But ask yourself this question: why would they be bombing hospitals? Why? Why? Because they want to see sick, innocent people die? No, because it continued to remind you that's where Hamas basically embeds themselves.
So you're saying it's worth bombing it if two Hamas guys are in a hospital? You saying it's cool to bomb the shit out of that thing?
Where are you getting two Hamas guys?
Hold on. No. Hold on.
If they're firing rockets and missiles from that hospital...
Hold on. There was no rockets shot from that hospital. What I'm saying is, how many Hamas people are just... Let's say they're in there. Let's say they're in there with guns. You're going to bomb the whole hospital and wipe everybody out, kids with cancer, to take out, let's say 5 or 10 Hamas. That's where she's making a point. It's special forces, and let's not pretend like they don't have some amazing special forces in Israel, and we can support, because we help them as well, Adam. It's like, when is enough enough?